Hey guys, another video for the how-to playlist. In response to the being polite video, there was a whole range of comments, hundreds of them actually, and as always there was a range of responses. So I'll start with the negative ones first. There's always, in the how-to videos, well, in most videos there's always some negativity, but in the how-to videos there's often some negativity in relation to the way things are done in Japan. You know, I wouldn't want to do that. In relation to the be polite one, I think it's important to say what I think, and I have to say what I think, and all the rest of it. Like I've said a lot of times on the how-to videos, these videos are for people who want to try and get the most out of their time in Japan, but of course we can all do it our own way. Providing we don't break the law in Japan, we can do things however we want. So of course, you know, if saying what you think is important to you, or if doing things your own way is important to you, and you know, if you don't like the idea of going along with what everybody else is doing, you want to do your own thing, you can do it. As long as you don't break the law in Japan, you've got the same rights here as you've got anywhere else. So you can do it all your own way if you want to, and that's fine, no problem at all. The reason I make these videos is that there is some people, and this is the next group of people I'll get to, who want to be good guests when they come to Japan and try and do things the way that they're done here. And also, just my own observation of my own experience in Japan and what I've observed of other people's experiences in Japan. You know, like I said, we can do it whatever way we want, but I've said this before too, I'm totally convinced that I wouldn't have the life that I've got in Japan if I hadn't have done my best to go with the flow and done my best to do things the way they're done here. You know, I'm convinced if I just come here and done my own thing, I'm convinced I wouldn't be living where I'm living. I wouldn't have the lifestyle I'm living. I wouldn't have any of the good things, or most of the good things that I've got here. So it's just been my experience and my observation that, you know, and that's what I've got in mind when I make these how-to videos, is if people want to come here and get the most out of their experience, this is what I recommend. But of course, you know, people can do it their own way, and you'll see examples when you come to Japan. If you go to the big cities where there is other foreigners, you will see examples of people doing things that are way different to what I'm describing. Actually, I'll just point out too, that you'll also see Japanese people doing things that are different to what I'm describing. You know, occasionally someone arcs up and says, oh, not all Japanese people are polite. Well, of course. You'll find that nowhere in my hundreds of videos have I ever said that all Japanese people are polite. You know, you can't say that any group of people are anything. Of course there are rude people in Japan, there's rude people everywhere. I just don't experience them very often, but they do exist. But I wouldn't recommend being like them. So, you know, saying, oh, you know, there's Japanese people talk on the phone in the train, and there's Japanese people that are rude to people, and there's, well, yes, that's true. But those people don't have a lot of doors opening for them in their lives either. And I've seen this, guys, I've seen this with Japanese people as well. It counts for foreigners, but also Japanese people. There was a guy came to a party in my town a couple of years ago, Japanese guy, came to a party a couple of years ago, and he was rude that day. Not over the top rude, just, you know, a bit loud and a bit bit abrupt. And in Japan that just stands out really strongly, and I've never seen him since. So he just never got invited back again. Everybody was nice to him, everybody smiled. They sort of tried to avoid him as much as possible, but they were all nice to him, and he's never been invited back since. Sort of a friend of a friend guy, and just never seen again. So, and he's Japanese. So they do it to Japanese people too, and they'll do it to us, you know, if we don't behave the way we should. But the point of this video I wanted to make was, for those of you who do want to try and go with the flow, and by all means, you know, I never expect anybody to totally rely on what I say, but what I'd recommend is watch what happens here. And it is a key here. The people that are respected here, the guys and girls who are respected here, you will find, if you watch, see who gets respected here, and who everybody treats with the most respect, and who everybody likes the most. And usually it's the quieter people, and even more so with the fellas, with the guys, even more so. Quiet guys one of the subscribers, one of the male subscribers, was asking me recently how to be cool here or how to be funny in Japan. I wouldn't do it. I'm really outgoing. I was really outgoing in my country, but here I try to be as quiet as possible. Because, you know, my recommendation is watch as much as possible and discreetly. Don't be eyeballing people. But when you're with people, when you're in a group of people or when there's people around, discreetly watch what happens. And when you're with a group of people in a group or whatever, watch what they're doing. And some of the people that really want to do the right thing here were asking me for some more specifics about politeness. It's hard to cover the thousands of situations, but my advice always is, with every topic that I've covered in the how-to playlist, my advice always is to watch Japanese people. Because getting it from someone like me, a foreigner like me, is okay. You know, it's better than not getting any sort of ideas at all. But the ultimate is to watch Japanese people and pick the right ones. You know, pick the right ones. You know, when you're with a group of people, watch who gets the most respect and who everybody likes the most and who everybody talk. And you have to really pay attention to see it. But if you watch carefully, you will see, oh wow, everybody really treats that guy with a lot of respect. When he talks, everybody shuts up and listens. You know, wow, they all seem to really respect him. And then watch his style. You'll find that his style is probably going to be very quiet. You know, I've seen it here with, you know, occasionally you get a louder guy here that's a bit sort of, you know, a personality. They're not that popular. They are on television, but in real life, they're not that popular. Japanese people really don't like that style of person very much. You know, and once again, I know there'll be an element of people who go, oh, that's just my style and I'm not going to change my style, that's just the way I'm going to be. Okay, that's fine. But to the other people, I recommend watch this, you know, watch this. And I've got to tell you guys, a lot of the stuff that I've learned here, I learned through making mistakes, you know. And there's a lot of this stuff that I pass on in these how-to videos I wish someone had told me, because these guys won't. And that's another thing that some comments have been coming recently. Oh, why didn't they tell you? They should tell you that you're doing something wrong. Well, saying that they should do this or they shouldn't do that or this is good or that's bad, as far as I'm concerned, it's totally irrelevant. That's not the focus of my videos. It is what it is, and they are like what they are like. And who should be like what, you know, whether we should be different or they should be different, should, would, should, is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. Japan is what it is, and if you watch, you'll see that, you know, irrelevant to what it should be like or whatever, what it is like is, if you come here and you're Mr. Super Personality and you're loud and hey, how you going, I'm Bob, and, you know, and your super personality doesn't usually work. They'll be nice to you, and this is the other thing, is that you have to observe very carefully to see the reality. Because, like I keep saying, they won't tell you if you're making a dick of yourself. You know, there'll be no hint. And if you've just arrived here, you've only been here a few months, you have no idea. They'll be so nice to you. You can sit here and behave like a total fool, and they will be so nice to you. Nobody will correct you. It's not their job. They don't see it like that. And they see that correcting you or explaining to you that you're making a dick of yourself is only going to create a scene, and it's only going to embarrass you, and it's only going to make everybody else feel uncomfortable, so they don't say anything. That's not a civilized way to go. Someone was asking about employers and bosses and so on. I guess, yeah, if you work for a Japanese boss and you do something wrong, I guess they'll tell you. One observation from martial arts is in dojos with the Westerners, well, I don't know about the Westerners, but with the Japanese people, I've noticed that teachers here will sometimes in dojo be very strong. The martial arts teachers will sometimes be very strong with students about some topics, but not even say anything about other stuff. And I've seen students here, Japanese people, students, martial arts students, do some really stupid, embarrassing things, and nobody tells them. Nobody tells them, you know, something that they're doing that's a breach of etiquette, or it's something that's just not the way it's done at all. They're making a total fool of themselves, and I know they are, and I look around and I notice that other people are sort of glancing and looking and noticing that these people are doing the wrong thing, and nobody says anything. And there's a big part of Japanese thinking is that as adults, we should be paying attention, and we should learn by paying attention, and that it's not someone else's job. I mean, there's exceptions to this, like there's exceptions to everything. There is exceptions where they will tell you, but it's really rare. It's more often the case in Japan where you have to learn by watching. you know, and not eyeballing. I've said this before about really staring at people. We don't do that, but just pay attention to what other people are doing, you know. And if there's a place where people are walking in and not talking, well, there's something we can learn there. If they're walking in and taking their shoes off, obviously we should do the same thing. Or if they're, you know, if they're not eating yet, they're waiting to eat, we should do the same thing. Or if they're, you know, what they're doing with their chopsticks, or what they're doing with their shoes, or what they're doing with their everything here. It's the best way to learn, and they expect us to do that, you know. And people say sometimes, oh, they should tell us. They should tell us, you know, they should tell us that they should know that we're a foreigner and that we don't know. Well, the problem is that most Japanese people that have never spent extended periods of time in other countries don't know which parts of these things are foreign things or Japanese things, and which parts of these things are just bad behaviour. So they don't know. If we are doing something that in Japan is considered to be uncivilized, they don't know if that's just because it's part of our culture, or if because we're uncivilized people in our own country too. Do you see what I mean? So they don't know whether they should say to us, oh, look, sorry, in Japan, we don't pick our nose at the table. It's just an example. It's a crazy example. But they don't know whether to say, sorry, in Japan, we don't pick our nose at the table, because it's possible that in our own country we shouldn't do it either, and it's just because we're uncivilized that we do it. Do you see what I mean? So they don't know. So they just assume when they see us behaving badly that it's just because we behave badly. So, you know, and it's not their job. They don't see it as their job. So all that they should tell us, they're not going to tell us, okay? You know, the chances that someone's going to say, hey, you just embarrassed yourself really badly. I can't, even my best friends, and someone else asked this too, what about your best friends, and what about, you know, even your best friends are not likely to tell you. My wife rarely tells me. You know, sometimes I find out, and this is the thing, you'll find out later. At the time you think you're okay, nobody's sort of reacting to it, you know, you're paying attention, everybody's happy, okay, is this okay, maybe this is okay. And even if you ask, is this okay, they'll go, yeah. And then later you'll find out that wasn't okay. Nobody does that, you know, and that's what they'll do. Just because of the harmony thing, we've covered that before, and they want everything to go well. So the only way is to watch. You know, if nobody else is doing it, don't do it, would be my suggestion. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. But my suggestion, if nobody else is doing it, don't do it. If everybody else is doing it, do it. And again, I know there'll be people that say, oh, that's not the way I swing, you know, I do my own thing, and fine, good luck with that. But, you know, like I keep saying, these how-to videos are for the people who, you know, want to try and have the most opportunities in Japan and have doors open for them, and, you know, and this is the stuff that I recommend. If you don't like it, that's fine, and, you know, let us know how your strategy works, you know. So, yes, pay attention and watch what's happening around us and learn. Choose who we're learning from. Of course, we don't want to follow the wrong people. We've got to be careful who we copy. It's possible that you'll see someone do the wrong thing and we'll copy them and find out later it was the wrong thing anyway. So, you know, pick the respected people, the cool people, the people that are behaving well, and copy them, behave them, and conservatively. You know, we've got to be conservative here. You know, really, it's the safest way. I always try to make sure that I'm the least wild. No, not the least wild. I always try to make sure that there's someone else in a group who's a little bit more happening than me, and a little bit more wild than me, and doing a little bit more wild things than me. You know what I mean? I think it's best not to be the one person who's doing the crazy stuff. Better just to let other people do all that and stand back and just watch. It really is. It really is. And I think, you know, fair or not fair, we do get, I don't want to use the word judged, but we do get, you know, they do watch us here. And, you know, you might get some old guy here, some old, you know, the old 60-year-old guy, 70-year-old guy in Japan can stop on the street and pee on a tree, you know. They can get away with that. These guys sort of, oh, he's okay, he's the old guy, you know, he can do what he wants. Doesn't mean we can do that, you know. So again, we've got to be a little bit more conservative, a little bit more careful. So yeah, guys, it really is the best way. Paying attention and watching and listening, You know, it really is the best way. It will give us the best opportunities, and just, you know, you wouldn't be aware. I'm sure you could come here and you could behave badly and go home after a year or 10 years. I know a guy that's been here 18 years and behaves really badly. And if you ask him, I'm sure he'll tell you that it doesn't matter and you can behave badly and it makes no difference and it hasn't made any difference. But I know for a fact it does, because I've spoken to other people that know him. He's a foreign guy and he lives in a big city, and I know people who know him, and he's actually a nice guy, but he just cannot go with the flow. He cannot go with the flow. And if you asked him, he would tell you that, oh yeah, I get lots of great opportunities. But I know for a fact that he doesn't, because I've spoken to Japanese people that have told me that they've chosen not to involve him in things because they're frightened how he'll behave, because he has a habit of being a bit outspoken and embarrassing them, so they don't involve him in things that he would otherwise be involved in. So he doesn't even know. He thinks everything's perfect. So, you know, if you get someone come back from Japan and say, oh look, you can do anything you want there, they don't care. Well, yeah, that's true to a certain extent, but who knows what that person missed out on because they behaved in ways that weren't as good as they should have been. So anyway, I hope that helped some of you. And to the other people who think should, would, could, hate, well, yes, good luck with that too. More videos coming soon.